Do you think that USDC will overtake Tether? There's a lot of different companies that are building on Bitcoin. Do you think that's legit long term? What do you think about it? Do you see quantum computing as a threat to crypto? Hey, what's up? This is Zach here. Super excited to be in Monaco speaking to the CEO and founder of SwissBorg, Cyrus, whose birthday is also today. He's turning 25. Really amazing. Looks great. How are you doing today?
I'm great. I heard your birthday is tomorrow, Zach, so we're celebrating almost our birthdays together. That's great.
I'm honored, yes. And I couldn't be in a nicer place with better people. So for our audience who doesn't know yet, we have a very international audience. Can you tell us about what SwissBorg is and what made you want to found it?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you. Well, SwissBorg is a wealth management platform that's really powered by crypto. The main thing is how to get to be financially free, right? So we really offer a very easy platform where you can deposit in local currency, you can trade with the best prices because we aggregate essentially centralized exchanges, but decentralized exchanges. So everything is swappable. And then you could get into DeFi, yield farming, get into a lot of special deals, and the easiest and most secure way. That's really what SwissBorg is.
So I think the idea of financial freedom is amazing. And that's what brought a lot of people into crypto.
Right.
What made you kind of want to take the steps to start this? And what was that initial journey like for you?
Yeah, great question. So I started, I was a nouveau pauvre. I mean, my family lost everything, right? I'm not a nouveau riche, on the opposite. And I got into wealth management because I was like, well, how do you get wealthy? Get to manage it, right? Then I graduated into hedge funds, and was I getting close to being a millionaire? Yeah, I thought about it. But then I realized what's the real value of a real millionaire. It's not having $1 million or €1 million or whatever. It's helping a million people to become financially free, right? Or at least helping 1 million people. And crypto for me was the best way to get in as an asset class, but as all technology that's amazing and the products that are behind that are built by the community for the community. That was really the thrive of saying, like, how can you make something bigger for the greater purpose?
And what year was that? Did you found it?
2016, yeah.
2016. So things have changed a lot in the past 9 years.
Yeah.
What would you say is the biggest thing that was different then from now? And how has that changed how you look at the market or your SwissBorg?
The market itself is very different. Used to be like huge anomalies. Like there was arbitrage everywhere. Market would never react to news whatsoever. Where now is whenever someone sneezes, suddenly Bitcoin goes up 3% or down 5%, right? And the altcoins even more. So the market structure has completely changed. In fact, they have a more institutional capital as well that came into it as well, changed the game. And I would say there are real use cases. Back in 2016 was more hope. I mean, there was Bitcoin and other things.
That's a use case.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
It's true. Hopium is a great one.
Yeah.
But now we have like DeFi has shown this robustness, the last 4 years. And from decentralized exchanges, launchpads, all type of aggregators whatsoever. There's a lot of different use cases for loans and other things that have really showed robustness, and out of the 4 or 5 years shown that blockchain is not only here for hype, it's as well for creating great use cases.
And when you think about the use cases that have stood out, where are you seeing the most adoption inside your business?
That's a great question. It's definitely DeFi. I mean,
DeFi
is where, you see all these dexes, whether it's on spot or if it's, as right now hype with all the type of perpetuals, you see that's where a lot of things are happening. But it still has this mindset of financial backbone that's being replaced. That's a huge, strong use case. But there's a lot of deepen, which has been the emergence, I would say, last year, because IoT is becoming a big thing, and Render and many other cool projects, I think, still doing the right steps. Decentralized science as well, doing some things about how you can monetize your own data. Social media is there without being there, is coming in and out. Gaming as well, there's Off the Grid 2 is a great one. Cross of the Ages is really great. And another project I like very much is Interstellar. A lot of people talk about NFTs as collections, and I think this is a great thing for artistic reasons, for video games maybe as well. But here with Interstellar, what I love is each NFT is actually a bottle of spirits, and rather you keep your digital wine or digital whatever in your wallet, or you redeem it and you get the real bottle at home. I think those are real strong use cases where you could really have collection NFTs and collateralize your wine cellar and be able then to do, buy more wine if you feel like it, or do whatever you want with it, or just drink it and redeem it. So you're seeing more and more use cases that are coming through real assets, deepen, DeFi, and slowly some games and some decentralized social media as well.
What does the average customer client of SwissBorg look like?
Very European based. People usually between 30 to 55, a little bit more, I'd say older than people would think. And they usually have beginner to sophisticated type of mindset or knowledge of trading, I would say. And some people are 100% invested only in crypto, and some people, diversify between, their regular wealth and what we have to offer.
Where do you see it expanding globally?
Yeah, I mean, now we're at this. We started with an ICO, which was in 2017, where 149 countries participated in our ICO. We raised 52 million. And we then centralized it more around, or we really focused more on Europe for regulatory reasons. But I do believe that we need to expand. And with our MiCA license, we'll be able to do all Europe very soon. And then more importantly, have an offshore entity to accompany like the bigger type of countries in the world. Yeah.
And what kind of like different, services or trades, these kind of things do you allow within your platform? Like what's the average customer experience journey?
Yeah, well, the great thing is that usually you could download the app. It's very easy. You deposit within your local currency, within your local name, which is really cool. So it's literally your name that you have a bank account. And then you could exchange to whatever you want. And as I said, everything is swappable, which that's really cool. So whatever deposit, you can change it into whatever you want. If you want to buy a meme coin on Hyperliquid, sell it versus meme coin on Solana, or buy a deepen project on Avalanche, everything is swappable. And that's what makes it great. And then you could get a yield and get whatever you need to do through your investments.
When you think about your journey over these past 9 years, what do you wish you could have told yourself when you started this company that you know now?
Well, I did many things wrong, but the one thing I think we've done extremely well at SwissBorg, right? And that's why we have the bracelet here and the necklace and whatsoever, is the community focused part. And I think I always say, me as a CEO, I'll make a lot of good calls, but I'll make a lot of wrong calls. However, if you let the community vote for multiple different things, I think so it's important. And very often for listing or whatever, every month we have votations where our community votes and they get rewarded for that. And I think that's a great thing of how you could really grow in the Web3 space. Because if you only have customers and you're servicing them products and services, it's a bit Web 2 mindset, right? You want people. I've owned Bitcoin for some time. I've built on Ethereum, built on Solana, and all these different chains because I believed in that. And I think that's what Web 3 people should think about. It's not just about investments, how building on top of it. It's something that's very important. Now, what I would have done different is not only decision making. I think we should have done a protocol where people could build more on it. So our entire MEX, our Meta Exchange, where you're able to trade all these different tokens through all these different venues, we're going to have hopefully soon a way to give an API and let people build on top of it. So, and try just to be offering more ways that people could build better solutions for themselves and let them customize more their investment experience and their journey to.
How do you prioritize privacy while still being transparent to the community?
We're just super transparent on most things. I think that's the honest truth. I don't know everything of the company, so I'm very transparent, but there's a lot of things I'm not interested and I don't want to know maybe, so I can't divulge everything. But I think you have to be transparent. When 2022, when shit happened and FTX blew up, we were doing our Series A, and our community said, we'd like to do it with you guys. It was a bit before FTX, but we did it while FTX happened, right? Our community backed us, right? And they invested in one of the biggest crowd equity funding of all time. We raised $23 million back then. And I think it was beautiful because when you do a lot for your community and they value that hard work, they will always back you. And I think that's the beauty of what we built, is just be as transparent as possible. And in the rough times, you'll have less friends, but you still have your partners. And if your community members are your partners, then they'll follow you in the good times and the highs, and many will still follow you in the lows as well.
What does community mean to you personally in Web3, and why do you think it's different than in Web2, like for a traditional bank?
Yeah, I mean, what you have in regular companies is you have users and shareholders, right? And the shareholders' only value is to extract money from the users. They have no other way. They don't give a shit at anything else, right? Because they don't necessarily use the product. And their mandate as a VC or private equity is just to, lead many other rounds to bring you an IPO and exit. That's their mandate. The users, they're looking for a service, right? And when you're in Web3, the shareholder or the users are the same people, right? That's why we never raised with VCs. We said, fuck the VC game, because especially at an early stage, you really want to maybe at a later stage, bringing private equity VCs is fine, but at an early stage, you don't want to give them too much strength, because if not, they're going to extract the value from your users that you should be very loyal to. And when you're in the Web3, it's the same thing, right? That's the beauty of it. That's why I think the memes of 24 was such a big thing. There's all these fair launches, which were not always that fair, but at least they're much fairer than investing into, companies that have only VC backing that are going to dump on you sooner or later. Yeah.
What would you say differentiates what you're building from other exchanges or other banking platforms?
We are very transparent, but we use blockchain, right? There's no exchange. All the exchanges that are today are not using blockchain at all. When you trade on Binance, you just trade on Binance, right? They don't pay gas fees or whatever. They have DEXs, but through the consumer-facing app, you don't have these DEXs. We want to remove all these DEXs. You want to remove all these order books that are private, that you can't see anything. You want to put everything on chain. If not, we're not going to arrive to our mission, which is really Web3. We were born by the most beautiful, crowdfunding ICO type of platform to now eventually only trade on DEXs and really bring value to these infrastructure that are built from Solana, Orca, or from Hyperliquid, or from Avalanche, Trader Joe, or whatever, right? So that's where you want to do, is like you don't want to take out from this ecosystem. You want to build on top of it, and I think that's what we always been doing. And I'm not sure everyone is doing that. I mean, for now, no one's doing it. And I think that eventually, hopefully, everyone will. But then, will they make as much as money? That's the question. And that's why I think people today are still very happy to be only on Sexes.
I love Switzerland. Just was there. What would you say is sort of a big benefit of building it out of Switzerland?
Zero.
Zero.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, fair enough.
No, I mean, there's no real benefit, to be honest. The only benefit I would see is there's very talented, smart people. But it's not a startup nation at all. Let's face it. And if it is, it's only for B2B. Because it's a very fragmented, multicultural, multilingual market. Then it's a market that, especially if you go to fintech, it only goes we only have one bank today. Then we have cantonal banks. So you have UBS, pretty much, and then it's mainly only cantonal banks, and maybe one or two other ones. But the idea is that it's very difficult, and the costs of are very high. So I would not recommend anyone to do what we did. But I like hard shit, working hard and pulling through. And the second thing maybe is really good is that people are very loyal. Like in Switzerland, you still have this concept of you don't need to change your career, or like you stay with your one employer maybe for your entire life, or maybe two. But that's loyalty is very big, but that's it.
When you think about events like this, we're here in Monaco. Or me at Cannes. What do you see as the biggest value to these kind of events, especially to companies like yourself, or you coming in person?
As a CEO, it's great because you meet people and they tell you like, "Oh, your app is amazing. Oh, your app this guy earlier is like, I looked like a great guy. He said, I just received literally email this morning saying I should close my account at SwissBorg." So these are the moments like, okay, what happened? So you try to figure out with people, they say, okay, this is good, this is bad. And it's like a chef going into a restaurant, right? You talk to the people, you look at them eating food. You look as well at different partners that could bring more value too. You look at scout new projects where we could invest or help them to develop something. So you always try to find ways and listen to smart people and do great interviews with yourself.
So talk about this boat event that you guys are having. What's the plan there?
Yeah, so it's Alex, my brother, really on top of that one. But I heard it's going to be the best boat party ever with 150 people. We're going to cruise from Cannes to all the different islands. And we'll be back at night, sunsets, with DJs and everything. So looking forward to that one.
Super cool. When we think about kind of the future as crypto, and it's interesting you mentioned a lot of sexes are very centralized. So even though they're trying to build a decentralized entity, they're still using order books versus more DEX infrastructure. How important do you think that is to end users?
Most people don't care, but the projects care, right? And that's where, like buying Orca or buying, I don't know, Uniswap. Yeah, it's cool, but using Uniswap is much more important. You start by investing in crypto, but then you start using crypto. And then eventually you be part of the community, and then you start voting and you're proposing, and then eventually you build on it. Those are really the 4 steps that one should go eventually to really immerse himself in the best way possible, right? So again, it's investing, touching it, playing around with the product. Then third is about voting, being part of the community, and then building and going even further. And I think so those are the really great things that you could be as a Web3.
Is there any like communities or projects right now that you guys are seeing a lot of action on, like a lot of people buying Solana, or you know, you can discuss that, but is there any like projects that you see are gaining a lot of momentum that people are asking about more that maybe would have surprised you or maybe not?
I mean, 24 was Solana's year for sure, right? That's where every meme was created, and not only there was great DeFi projects like Camino and others, and great other deep-in projects as well. So 24 was about Solana. There's always new hype. Sui is, I know a great ecosystem. There's hype around it, but there's Avalanche that's coming back as a blockchain. Then there's the new Vera chains and other guys like that. Mega ETH is going to be a new one. I don't know, to be honest, so much about that one, but it is, a lot of people are talking about it. So you're going to see a lot of different layer 1s and layer 2s making some noise. On the DApp levels, I haven't seen yet something very exciting. Like, obviously there's RWA, but then, with OM, that didn't go very well. So we'll see how it goes. But the retail has not kicked in as much as we wished, right? And I think so this is when we're going to create more narrative. Right now is Bitcoin and Ethereum, will it move or not? We'll see. In Solana,
it's a stable coin.
Yeah, exactly. Which is what it is. If you look at the last cycle, it was kicked in 2020 through hedge funds guys, institutional money, and then after DeFi, exploded, and that created a new narrative, and then gains and NFTs and whatsoever. Last year we had institutional, but there's still more capital to be coming in, and I hope that from that we're gonna have 2 or 3 big new themes. It can be gaming, it can be social media, or be science or whatever.
Do you think that meme coins are good for crypto?
Yes and no. I think memes are amazing. I think there's some good communities around it, but it's very about, it has this weird thing of, let's pump to dump, pump and dump and pump and dump and make huge amount of capital. Few people make a huge amount of capital on a big amount of people. And I think that, Trump has great new people to buy Trump token. Yeah. Did a lot of people that bought Trump token make money? That's the question, right? And I think so, yes, it's good, but it hurts as well. And that's why I see that a lot of more fundamental, strong projects, there's SwissBorg or others, have not really rallied yet, because a lot of new money goes into this dream of lottery, of gambling, or whatever you want to call it, where it goes like, let's invest into this token because it's only 50 million market cap, and it bounces to 200 million, and then just one guy sells for 2 million. There's no liquidity, and it goes right down to 10 million again, right? And that's we've seen that multiple times, right? And but hey, there's still Fartcoin and many others that sound like a nice name, and the community has created one called Borgi, which is a fun one. It's a dog that wants to rescue people out of crypto. So it's a AI agents and trying to list the fair, good tokens on SwissBorg, at least the memes. And they're trying to make more cool stuff. And I think so. Bonk, for example, is a good idea as well. And they have great things. So you have the plain memes, and then you have memes that have a brain with it. And I tend to be European, so I like the second one where it's just more than just a meme.
When you think about NFTs, there is a huge amount of hype there, PFPs, these different things, and then that momentum's kind of gone away. Do you see NFTs still being valuable? Do you guys trade NFTs on your platform?
No, we haven't. We could. I mean, Interstellar is the best one, really. Far away. And not because I only invested, they're good friends, but it's just the best thing because when you want to buy a nice bottle of Bordeaux, okay, it's traded 5 to 7 times before it's open. Right, it goes to China, Japan, New York, back to France, back to Europe, back to whatever, and then eventually you don't even know if the bottle was well kept, and you don't even know if it's a real bottle. Again, if you want to China, because they have so much fake French bottle. So I think those are very strong cases. RWAs with NFTs. Then the more NFTs pump and dumps of 22, we're gonna see some of it, but again, a lot of it is. It's hard to justify their price appreciation, right? There's no fundamental value to anything. And we know that we don't need fundamental value all the time, but we still need some story. Because if not, eventually, right, you will get out of it. But Mad Labs was a great collection, and I think there's a lot of great things out of it. Now, do I believe we're gonna see another NFT pump? 100%.
100%, yes. Interesting.
Yeah. So I know we're gonna have SwissBorg. You'll be able probably to have invest into a collection of NFTs altogether. People can deposit and go buy like an NFT fund type, not a fund, but type of like a collective investment scheme. And I think that it's good to have because a lot of people are already positioned, and history never repeats itself, but it rhymes, right? And what pumps and deflated will have another pump eventually.
Do you think that the future of crypto is going to get more and more institutional? And are we seeing people talk about mainstream institutional adoption or just mainstream adoption. Are we there yet?
Definitely not. I think people are now like, 2017 is like, what the fuck is this shit? 2018 was more like, I told you this thing sucks. 2019 was like, well, what is crypto? 2020 was like, what is crypto? 2021 was those socials saying, oh, these guys are getting 30% in USDC in the yield. Like, we're getting 2%. How does that work, right? And 2022, I told you it sucked. And 2024 has been the year of like, okay, we did sucked so many times, but actually everyone has been building pilots. And now, with Securitized and other companies and all these IPOs with Circle and whatsoever, they're just saying, okay, this is not only here to stay. This is the future, right, of fintechs. So I think a lot of people got excited. I hope that RWA is not going to be only the only, big thing. I still believe that there's much more value in this technology than just tokenize all the securities and whatsoever. It's going to be a great one, but I think we can do much better.
So it's interesting because we talk about Web3 and Web2, and a lot of the tech is coming together. Like I saw that on Kraken different exchanges, you can now trade stocks and swap those for crypto. Are you guys thinking about doing something like that?
Until today, I didn't see so much value, but there's a French guy told me that for tax reasons, the best. And I was like, oh, I didn't get about tax. We don't have tax problems over that. But now I thought about it. I was like, oh, that's smart. So for European people that have to capital gains whenever they get out of crypto into fiat, here would be the perfect thing, is that you max out the market and then you just go into stocks or into an industry, whatever. So it's actually a very smart use case for us, for the European market. So now I'm thinking about it, probably we'll try to figure out something. Yeah. So you always have to think about what are the big problems that our users are facing and how can you get them easier, better way to be financially free. Now, when the guy told me that, I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Let's now reconsider. We wanted to already do it 2 years ago, Yeah, should put it back on the roadmap.
So there's a huge boom right now in stablecoins. Like you just mentioned, Circle went public. The TBL of stablecoins is hitting an all-time high. Coinbase's stock hit an all-time high. How big do you think stablecoins are going to become to crypto? Do you think there's a world in which stablecoins are bigger than Bitcoin?
What I know is that everyone is sending us emails and saying, "Oh, guys, we are a bank. We'd love to talk about how we do our stablecoin, all that." The frank is like no one's going to be able to do it. I don't think so. I think they all are going to fail.
Why?
It's difficult. It's a difficult business, right? We've been pushing VNX for some time, which has CHF, Euro, GBP. Great company behind, regulated, European, all that. But the traction is not big. I think the people want to trade USDC or USDT, or mainly USDT, offshore and onshore. You don't need more than that. So if you come with a bank and say, okay, I'm going to bring 5-10 billion right away in the first 2 weeks, yeah, well, that will probably gain traction. But look, how small is PayPal? And they gave on Camino like 5% for everyone for free for last, I don't know, 5 months. They did that, something like that. They created a yield on top of the, what they're giving. So it's not that easy, right? You don't want to. Why would you go into a stable coin?
Good point.
There's no reason for it, right?
Do you think that USDC will overtake Tether?
That's a great question. No,
Why not?
I think so. Trump is not a big fan of it. That's what I heard. No, not only. I think so. USDT is just the best use case, right? Like I cannot send USDC to Iran. My dad's in Iran, but I can send USDT to Iran.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I like how, even though, I mean, in the US, at least the criticism is that it seems less transparent, but it's always worked.
Yeah, so, I mean, it is less transparent, but it is what it is, right? At the end, like offshore entities are less transparent for different reasons. It doesn't mean that they're dirtier. It just means that they have different, set of rules that enable them to be less transparent for another regulation. So I think USDT has played it very well. In Europe, USDT is pretty much banned. We have to take it out. So I think we'll have a new stablecoin. I don't know, maybe not. With Circle's IPO that 8x better than most memes and every time. Who knows? Maybe Circle, they'll just print their stocks and then to cap it and bring more USDC with that, or tokenize their stock and bring more USDC. Who knows what they're going to do? So very interesting battle to see, that's for sure.
So Ethereum, I mean, I remember a couple of years ago after FTX and different things, there was like, we're only investing in projects building on ETH. A lot of VCs were talking about that. It was ETH only. And like you mentioned, the prices have kind of been stagnant. It seems like some momentum is stagnating there. Do you think ETH will continue to be that number 2 spot?
No.
No. Okay.
No. I think if you look at religions and crypto, it's very similar. And Bitcoin is the 10 commandments, right? And I see Ethereum like Jewish, which is fantastic, super well thought, all that, but it's very difficult to build on top of it. The language is difficult to understand and to code on it. And the ecosystem is not that pro-business. Solana is Christianity, right? It is really, Anatoly, he's the Jesus Christ.
Even though he's Jewish.
Yeah, it's fine. It is what it is. But it's very Americanized in a way, which is very well done. Yeah, I think they've done just a fantastic job of being able to, the hackathons and everything, just to build a very solid foundation. And to be able to build a lot of dApps that are on top of it, right? I think so that's the right thing. And they focus as well not on like how decentralization is important, but how you're able to do just a very huge amount of transactions. And the memes of last year have shown the robustness, right? At the end is that like maybe it's not as decentralized, but it's been able to create whatever millions of memes where they locked, by the way, Sol, which was a smart way to actually build up the momentum. And then just be able to trade it. And I think so that was very smart of them. They're very, very proactive with everyone, right? And I think Ethereum is still more like a university type of thing where a lot of brilliant minds on it I still strongly believe in Ethereum. It's my second position, right, after SwissBorg. So, no, third position after Bitcoin and SwissBorg. But it's just not the same hungriness and not the same mindset. Yeah, I think.
So what would you see overtaking Ethereum?
You have big guys that are positioned on Ethereum right now, but the inflows on ETS are not huge either, right? There's been a lot of people playing around shorting Ethereum as well, which is a bit of weird conspiracy theory, but there's some big people maybe that's been doing that to just buy low and then eventually, give the right coupon. But as you see activity on chain, it's still, most of it is still bigger from Solana. TVL for sure is on Ethereum. But TVL does not bring transactions, and we're still in a transaction-based business. I think so. That's where. So we'll see. If there's a huge and the whole thing about L2s and all that, I don't really get it. I get the point why they did it, but does that bring real economic value to Ethereum? It's hard to say. Yeah.
Yeah, and someone brought up to me the other day is like the Arbitrum, problem or issue is that like you have to have Arbitrum and trade Arbitrum, and you can never get rid of it. You always have one because you can't trade it without Arbitrum. So it's kind of an interesting thing where I guess you could go to an exchange, but in general you have to stay within the ecosystem on DEXs. And it's hard to leave. And plus as Ethereum gets more efficient, the need for L2s becomes less and less, which means a lot of liquidity is fragmented. There's a lot of talk lately about building on Bitcoin. We have ordinals, there's stacks, there's a lot of different companies that are building on Bitcoin. Do you think that's legit long term? Like, what do you think about it?
Yeah, I don't get it. No. I mean, there's two things. If it's only there to make sure that Bitcoin becomes a legal tender for payments, yeah. The thing with light speed and all that, I'm like, that makes sense. But then going too crazy and building DeFi protocols and all of that because it's just more decentralized, again, it's the wrong problem. It's just that you're attaching the wrong problem. Aave is doing great. If you want to do it on Ethereum, if you not go on Camino, doing it great. And we don't need a new one. What would be the purpose? And because even in the Bitcoin itself, you need to wrap that somewhere to put it on those L2s. So it doesn't, for me, make the sense of doing that. I think so. It gets very overly competitive, too complicated. And the main white paper doesn't seem that, ordinals was the big thing, right?
That's interesting. Yeah, and it's been a very fragmenting issue within the Bitcoin community, so I find that fascinating. I had a really interesting conversation on a panel earlier about quantum computing and how that might break Bitcoin. Do you see quantum computing as a threat to crypto?
Well, one thing we know is that in the world of crypto, we have the best engineers for cybersecurity, right? It's literally the best. So there will be a quantum security guy, right? He'll figure it out. Congrats, by the way, for helping us.
Well, thank you so much, Cyrus, for the fantastic interview. I learned so much from you. I think you've had an amazing journey. You've had really insightful opinions. What do you want to leave our audience with?
Yeah, I mean, become financial free. It's a thing that you should happen right now because in the next couple of years, I think technology AI is going to be able to probably segment a lot of people on this planet, and the only way you could do it is understanding who you are, obviously, and again, invest, use, vote, and then build on top. And I ensure you're going to have a great experience. Thank you very much, Dad.
Hey, what's up?
But it's not something Gen Z is afraid of.
If you want to survive, you got to build a house.
No, we do not understand that we do not want to have. Ladies and gentlemen.
We're back at the Gen Z Media House.
Oswald, thanks so much for joining us today.